Level 1. The Hangaround. You aren't a brother. You're just a shadow standing outside the iron gates of a clubhouse in Oakland. You're 19 and your world is defined by the thunder of V-twin engines and the smell of burnt rubber. Your job is the grunt work. You don't ride, you clean. You spend 10 hours a day scrubbing road grime and oil off the chrome exhaust pipes of bikes that don't belong to you. You get the beer, you empty the ashtrays, and you stand in the pouring rain guarding the parking lot while the real members party inside. You're paid $0. You do it for the hang, the hope that one day, one of the men in the leather vests will actually remember your name. The danger here isn't a rival gang, it's the constant humiliation. You're a ghost in a plain denim vest, invisible to the world and a servant to the club. You learn the first rule of the road: respect isn't given. It's extracted through grease, sweat, and silence. You're at the starting line of a high-speed chase, and right now, you're just the dust kicked up behind someone else's tires. Level 2, the prospect. You've survived the grease and the silence, so they hand you a cut, a plain leather vest with no name and no logo. To the world, you're a criminal. To the club, you're property. You're 21, and for the next year, your life belongs to every full patch brother in the room. Your job is a 24-hour suicide mission. You're the one who rides at the back of the pack, breathing in the exhaust and dust of 30 bikes. If a brother's engine dies on a deserted highway at 3 a.m., you're the one kneeling in the dirt fixing it while he watches from the shadows. You carry the tools, you carry the heavy freight, and you carry the blame. If the sirens start wailing behind the convoy, you're the one who slows down to take the hit so the brothers can disappear into the night. You're paid in potential. Your currency is a nod of approval from the sergeant-at-arms. The danger is the check, a sudden midnight meeting in a dark roadside diner where they test your loyalty with fists and questions you aren't supposed to answer. One wrong word, one sign of weakness, and they strip your vest and leave you on the side of the road. You've moved from cleaning the chrome to protecting it with your life. You're no longer just dust, you're the spark plug of the machine, and you're learning that the road to brotherhood is paved with your own blood and broken teeth. Level 3, full patch member. The probation is over. You stand in the center of a circle of fire and leather, and for the first time, they don't call you a name, they call you a brother. They hand you your colors, the 3-piece patch that makes you a sovereign citizen of the underworld. You're 23, and you've just signed a lifetime contract written in ink and oil. Your job is the run. You don't ride at the back anymore. You're in the heart of the formation. Your bike isn't just a machine. It's a high-speed mule. You coordinate the movement of illegal freight, unregistered firearms and narcotics across state lines, hidden in the hollowed-out frames of a dozen Harleys. You're the mobile infantry of the club. When a rival gang tries to set up a shop in your town, you don't call the police. You grab a heavy wrench, kick the kickstand, and handle the business in the parking lot. You're paid in blood money. You're clearing $3,000 a week from the club's protection rackets and shop cuts. You buy a custom-built V-twin with more chrome than a mirror and cover your white plastic arms in tattoos that tell the story of every fight you've won. But the danger has shifted from the brothers to the law. You're now a verified member in the federal database. The police don't pull you over for speeding. They pull you over to search for a reason to put you away for 10 years. You've earned the patch, but you've also pinned a target on your back that never comes off. You've moved from the dust to the engine room, realizing that the roar of the road is the only thing loud enough to drown out the sound of the prison gates waiting for you. Level 4, the road captain. You've outlived the reckless recruits and the hot-headed soldiers. The club doesn't just need your fists anymore. They need your eyes and your intuition. You're 28, and you are the brain of the pack when the kickstands go up. Your job is the formation. You ride at the very front of a 100-bike convoy, a white plastic ghost leading a line of thunder. You map the routes, you time the fuel stops, and you scout the terrain for the clean run. You are the club's navigator through the minefield of the law. When a state trooper pulls the pack over, you're the one who steps off your bike first, leather vest creaking, to handle the negotiation while the brothers wait in a silent, idling line behind you. You ensure the cargo reaches the destination without a single tire touching a police spike strip. You're paid in territory. You're clearing $5,000 a week, managing the logistics of the club's transit corridors. You ride a high-performance touring bike with a custom navigation rig that glows neon blue against your faceless head. But the danger is the front line. Being first means you're the first to hit the ambush, the first to slide on the oil slick, and the first to take the federal heat. You spend your nights staring at topographic maps and highway frequencies, realizing that at this speed, one wrong turn doesn't just cost a shipment. It costs the lives of every brother following your taillight. You've moved from surviving the road to mastering it, but you're starting to realize that the faster you lead the pack, the harder it is to see the cliff edge coming. Level 5, the Sergeant at Arms. You aren't watching the road anymore, you're watching the room. You've traded the open win for the high-security walls of the clubhouse. You're 32, and you are the club's internal police, the enforcer of the bylaws, and the keeper of the silence. Your job is discipline. You sit at the door during church, the club's secret weekly meetings, with a sawed-off shotgun resting on your lap. You are the shadow that looms over every member. If a brother gets high on the wrong supply, if he skims from the treasury, or if he shows a flicker of cowardice in a fight, you are the one who handles it. You don't give warnings, you give reminders. You're the man who physically strips the patch off a traitor's back, a process that usually leaves more than just the leather torn. You manage the vault, the armory, and the high-tech surveillance grid that turns your clubhouse into a digital fortress. You're paid in absolute control. You're clearing $8,000 a week, a cut taken from every racket the club runs, because without you, the machine falls apart. You wear a custom heavyweight leather vest with a Sergeant at Arms rocker that glows like a warning sign. But the danger is the internal war. Being the enforcer means you're the most hated man in the room. You sleep with a pistol on your chest and cameras in every corner of your home. You realize that in this life, the brothers who hug you the tightest are the ones you have to watch the most. You've moved from master of the road to master of the cage, but the cage is getting smaller every day, and you're starting to wonder if you're the guard or the prisoner. Level 6, the Treasurer. You've outlived the violence of the street and the paranoia of the clubhouse. The club doesn't just need you to bleed anymore. They need you to think. You're 36, and you are the chief financial officer of an outlaw empire. Your job is the wash. You sit in a back office of a high-end, hyper-realistic motorcycle restoration shop, the club's primary front. While the mechanics work on V-twins in the front, you're in the back counting the dues. Every brother in every chapter pays a tax to keep the machine running. You take the dirty stacks of cash from the drug runs and the protection rackets and turn them into legitimate invoices for custom chrome and engine rebuilds. You manage the club's offshore accounts, the legal defense funds for brothers in prison, and the bribes for the local officials who keep the clubhouse gates open. You are the architect of the invisible economy. You're paid in clean equity. You're clearing $15,000 a week, filtered through a dozen shell companies. You wear an expensive designer watch that glints against your white plastic wrist, hidden under the sleeve of a heavy leather jacket. But the danger is the paper trail. The FBI doesn't want your vest. They want your hard drive. You're worried about an IRS audit or a forensic accountant with a badge. Every dollar that doesn't add up is a crack in the fortress. You realize that at this level, the pen is deadlier than the wrench, and a single mistake in the ledger can sink the entire pack. You've moved from the engine room to the boardroom, but the air is thick with the smell of ink and cold sweat. And you're starting to realize that the more money you wash, the more your own hands feel permanently stained. Level 7, the President. You have reached the summit of the asphalt throne. You are the national, the king of the road. Your kingdom isn't defined by borders, but by the thousands of miles of blacktop that stretch into the northern horizon. You're 45, and you have survived the wars that buried everyone else. You are no longer just a rider. You are the machine itself. Your job is absolute rule. You don't manage territories, you manage destinies. You sit at the head of a massive, heavy oak table during church, illuminated by a single golden spotlight that makes your white plastic head glow like an icon. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't even need to speak. A slow, heavy nod of your faceless head is a command that can burn a rival town to the ground. When you say move, 300 engines roar to life in a heartbeat. When you say end it, an entire rival organization is erased from the map. You own the port directors, the union bosses, and the cold fear of every citizen who hears the thunder of your pack approaching. You're paid in the empire. The money is a flood, clearing $50,000 a week in untraceable tribute. But at this level, cash is just paper used to stoke the fire. You wear a high-end, custom-tailored heavy leather jacket with gold-stitched patches and a 1%er pin made of solid platinum. But the danger is the apex. You are the ultimate prize for a federal RICO task force and the singular target for every ambitious brother below you. You live in a fortified compound behind 12-foot concrete walls, surrounded by men who would die for you or kill you to take your seat. You realize that at the very end of the road, the air is so thin you can barely breathe, and the view from the top is nothing but a long, lonely horizon. You are the king, but your throne is a golden cage, and the key was lost miles ago. Level 8, the federal takedown. The road doesn't end in a high-speed crash. It ends in a clinical, windowless courtroom. It wasn't a rival gang that took the king. It was a ghost in the machine. You realize too late that the brother who rode by your side for 3 years, the one whose bike you helped fix in the rain, was wearing a wire under his leather the entire time. The infiltration was surgical. The raid happens at 5 a.m., not with the roar of engines, but with the rhythmic, heavy stomp of a federal tactical team. Your job is now survival. The silk shirts and the gold-stitched leather are gone. You've traded your sovereign citizen status for a coarse, bright, prison orange jumpsuit silhouette. You sit on a cold steel bench, forced to watch through a glass partition as a technician in blue latex gloves bags your gold pinky rings and your platinum 1%er pins. The symbols of your brotherhood are no longer icons of power. They are just Exhibit A in a RICO case. You aren't the president anymore. You are inmate number 99,042. The danger is the isolation. There is no pack to protect you in a 6 by 9 foot concrete box. The only sound is the mechanical hum of a ventilation fan and the distant, echoing clang of steel on steel. You have 30 years to life, no parole, to stare at a featureless wall and realize the fatal flaw of the life. The more people you trust to build an empire, the more wires you invite into your home. You once owned every mile of the highway, but now you don't even own the light switch in your room. The machine has stopped, and for the first time in 20 years, the silence is deafening. Level 9, the ghost. You aren't a man anymore. You've become a melody of iron and wind. You are a weathered leather vest hanging over a simple wooden cross on the shoulder of Route 66, or a black and white mural on a brick wall in Oakland that's slowly being reclaimed by the city's grime. You are gone, but your legend lingers in the air like the thick smell of exhaust after the pack has long passed. Down on the street corner, a new shadow moves. He's 18, standing by a rusted bicycle, watching the highway. He doesn't dream of offices or safety. He dreams of the thunder. He hears your name in the stories told over beer and oil, and to him, it sounds like a map to a world where the only law is the throttle. He doesn't see the clinical courtroom or the orange jumpsuit in your final chapter. He only sees the glint of the chrome and the weight of the brothers at your back. Then, the thunder hits. A single high-performance V-twin engine roars past, vibrating the pavement under his feet and the bones in his chest. He stops. He watches until the taillight is just a red dot on the horizon. The kings rot in the earth, but the road stays hungry. Individuals are just grease for the next engine. This isn't a business, and it isn't a life. It's an addiction to the open air. The highway doesn't care who holds the bars, as long as the machine keeps moving. The road never ends. It just waits for the next ghost to start the engine.